So, as you can see, Tim Krabek. You can reach me at Twitter. Just Google T Krabek and you'll find me online. This talk today is a little bit about getting involved with community greater than your local area, greater than just our community. And more specifically, I've been doing a lot of work with the Calvary over the past couple of years. Who's heard of the I Am the Calvary movement? No? Okay. So I Am the Calvary basically came about when a group of guys were sitting at a conference, drinking and having fun, and they realized that nobody is going to send the cavalry in for us and solve all of our InfoSec problems. We have to do it. We have to help other industries. We have to help people solve these problems ourselves. So we have to become our own cavalry. So it's I Am the Cavalry. So the problem statement, I don't know where this slide came from. This is weird because it's not the one I'm seeing down below, which is nice. But our society is adopting connected technology faster than we're able to secure it. You know, who's heard about that little buzzword IoT? Internet of Things. You know, everybody now is on the internet. Everybody's like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if my thermostat was connected so I could do it over my phone? What about my toaster so I could go to sleep, put my bread in the toaster, go to sleep, and then when my alarm goes off and whatever else, it tells the toaster to start toasting my toast. So when I walk out in the kitchen, my toast and coffee are done. So, you know, you can't program a toaster to probably, you know, keep the toast in there until it catches on fire. I don't know. So, the mission statement of I Am the Cavalry is right here. You guys can read it. We're focused a lot on medical, automotive, the connected home, and the public infrastructure. Medical's easy. It's the medical devices, all the stuff related to hospitals. It's easy to describe, but hard to secure. Automobile is a lot about the sensors, the wireless sensors in the cars, the CAN bus, which basically connects everything together. And the connected home is about all the IoT that everyone just throws in their house and doesn't care what's going on with it. Who's heard about the Synology NASAs? They had a small problem where you could remote into them, take over them without credentials, and then someone put a Bitcoin mining botnet on there. So now I'm using your computing resources to get me Bitcoin. Much better than putting a virus on there because I make money directly. And then public infrastructure, the SCADAs, the ICS systems, the the cameras at the traffic lights, not the cameras at the traffic lights, but the traffic lights themselves in a lot of places, they may not be connected to each other, but a lot of times you can get over there to the boxes nearby, or sometimes they'll run a serial cable or something down from the pole so you could connect it and do diagnostic or walk up a little hand thing and control them from there, so you can't cause havoc with that either. One of the biggest things over the past year that the Calvary has done is created this 5-star automotive cybersecurity framework. Say that 5 times real fast. They're moving toward self-attestation here. So if you're a car company, you say, I want to be 5-star automotive cyber safety framework compliant, you go through and say, you know, we're doing safety by design. We're working third-party collaboration. We're working with our vendors and our suppliers and everybody else. Our onboard computer does evidence capture in a forensically sound manner. So if it's tampered with, you can tell that it was tampered with and it's not necessarily exactly what was recorded at the time. Provide a mechanism for doing security updates, and they do segmentation and isolation on the CAN bus. Basically make it so you can't plug a USB into the radio and update the firmware or jack with someone's car remotely through the ODB port. Here's a picture of a forward camera. As you can see, they've got a ton of sensors and stuff built into it now. You know, you've got blind spot, rear camera, lane keeping system, driver alert system, adaptive cruise control, assistive parking, pole drift compensation. You know, there's a lot of stuff that, while you may not necessarily be able to kill someone, you may be able to harass the crap out of them while they're driving and make it very difficult for them, at least, maybe cause them an accident or something. Distances for some of these things. The passive anti-theft system is 10 meters. Bluetooth is 10 meters. Radio data systems, 100 meters. In-car Wi-Fi, well, DEF CON wireless shoot was pushing over 100 miles with antennas and stuff like that. So think about being on the top of a skyscraper in a city. You could probably take care of every single car on that road that you can see. Tire pressure monitors are about a meter. I was talking with Kevin of, pardon? Kevin Johnson, thank you, of Secure Ideas, just before this talk, and he's like, you can't really do anything with tire pressure monitor. You just say tire's low, and the light comes on the dashboard. So, again, you can't necessarily kill somebody with this, but you can harass the crap out of them. You can make someone stop and pull over. Imagine you're driving down the road in the middle of the night, Jordan. I go, oh, there's a woman in the car next to me. Boop, tire's flat. You pull over on the side of the road. Now a stranger comes over to help you. Do you want that? Do you not want that? Do you risk driving up to someone there's light when your tires, obviously being reported as flat? I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do that's not necessarily kill the person in the car, but you can cause a lot of traditional, standard, crime type stuff by exploiting this. And then your smart keys can unlock your car from anywhere between 5 and 20 meters away. Medical devices, the Calvary is getting ready to announce a new medical device, like 5-star safety rating, in the next few days to few weeks. Bo's working on that right now, but this is our manifesto basically about the medical device in the healthcare industry. If you want to take time to read it now, go ahead. If not, it's on the imthecalvary.org site. So there's a few little things that I've posted here about what medical devices have been actively researched. You get the insulin pumps that are vulnerable to hacking. A little bit more insulin, not enough insulin. Change the reading on there saying you're not getting enough insulin, you're getting too much insulin. And you can either kill somebody depending on how bad their insulin dependence is, or at the very least cause a very bad day and or send them to the hospital depending on how paranoid they are. So, again, you may not be able to kill them, but if I send you to the hospital, to the ER, and you don't have insurance because your insulin's going too high, you've at least got a very high medical bill and you're out for, several hours while they're trying to figure out what's going on. Death by defibrillator. We talked about this earlier in the first keynote today, Cheney's pacemaker hack. So they disabled all remote code updates on that one. Wouldn't it be nice to be the vice president and have the Secret Service taking care of your equipment and securing it for you? I don't have that kind of money. IoT devices, we talked about a toaster a little bit earlier. Refrigerators are IoT, etc. Everything under the sun is IoT these days. I'm just waiting for the day that someone goes, oh, we can put a webcam on the toilet, and when the person gets up, we can immediately snap a picture and upload that to ratemypoo.com.
No, call it crapper. Wipe left to approve, wipe right to...
That's good, crapper. Rate My Poo's already out there. It's a bit older. It's probably...
Japan already has smart toilets,
So, yeah, make your life horrible, make your life annoying, automatic bidet connected to the internet. You don't have to touch the buttons on the toilet, which is great, but, someone gets in there and automatically starts the process for you while you're sitting on the toilet. Might not be too good.
Yeah, think of it. You don't have to call in sick to work. Your boss already knows.
Exactly. Public infrastructure. These are some of the things they're classifying as public infrastructure. You've got the aviation systems, rail systems, public transport, airplanes, traffic monitoring, utility service, waste and sewage. And then a couple years back, a couple guys I know did some research on farm equipment. The farm equipment is pretty cool. They've got in the newer combines and stuff that they use to process all the brain fart, vegetables and corn and grains in the field, they're automatically pulling that over, analyzing the quality of that on the field, determining is this, $3 a bushel corn for animals, is it $12 a bushel corn for people, what have you. Now imagine if you knew this information before the stuff got off the field. So you could go through and say, great, as a farmer, this is awesome. I'm going to run 2 or 3 trucks out here. I get into lower grade corn. I'm going to pull in one hopper. They're going to take this. They're going to ferry that over to the $3 a bushel. And they're going to feed it to the animals. I'll get the more expensive stuff over there. I pull another loader in there. We take that. We send it over to the people. We get $12 a bushel. Now I'm a little bit nefarious. I say, you know what? I think a $9 spread would be worth me going through and buying some of this. So I'm going to inject on the radio here that, would you look at this corn coming off? It's not that good for people. You know what? It might not even be that good for animals. But you know what? We'll still take it because we're doing ethanol. Because we can produce it that way. We'll buy it even cheaper. Now we get it back to our lab and we reevaluate it and go, this quality is nowhere near as low as we thought it was. This is fit for consumption by people. Now I can take that and maybe I bought it for $1.50, $2 a bushel, and now I'm selling it for 10 or 12 because my lab has verified it's now good and it wasn't as crappy as I told the farmer's equipment it was and bought it for really cheap. So there's a lot of stuff that's becoming computerized that if you think nefariously, you can get in and make changes and do things that not necessarily kill people, but benefit you in a good or bad way. Who's this?
Gregory Evans.
Gregory Evans. Does anyone know who he is or what he did several years back?
Security hacker.
Yes, he is the ultimate media hacker. What he did is he presented himself to the media in the Atlanta area as a security expert. And because of that, he was able to get on TV and spout all sorts of really interesting stuff about computer security.
With that tie?
Hey, this is one of the pictures on his website, on one of the websites I found him at. So what happened was he became available. The media knew him when they picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Gregory, we've got this this virus thing happening. Can you come in and give us an interview or a little piece on this?" He goes, "Sure, I'll show up there." So he shows up. They interview him. Of course, he's the expert in the field. So they go out and say everything he's done is truth because they don't know any better. So now he is their expert. What can you do about something like this? Sit on Twitter, Facebook, and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe that guy's on TV again." Is that a good solution?
It's a popular one.
Popular one, yeah. We do that a lot about a lot of things. What you can do is you can get involved. Get involved with the Calvary, get involved with other groups that are trying to go out and talk InfoSec and risk to people who are not in our community. You can get media training. I Am the Calvary does media training at some of the larger B-Sides conferences like B-Sides Las Vegas, B-Sides San Francisco. Go there, get free media training. They've got 2 amazing reporters who come in and teach you how to talk to a reporter. You know, reporters have their end goal. They need to get they need to get their story out. They need to get their 30 seconds or their 15-second soundbite. You, if you want to get out there and talk about the latest heartbleed virus, which wasn't a virus, but that's what all the media found out and ran with because it sounded good. We have our set of information we want to get out about these things. So understanding what the media want and what you need to get out there, you can sit down and have a conversation with them. What does off the record mean versus on the record? What is background? What questions are they going to ask? What information do they want to know? You can get a lot of this stuff before you get in the interview. If you don't know about it, then you don't. Who here has argued with an attorney? Who thinks it's a good idea in court to argue with an attorney? Okay. Are you an attorney?
No.
Police officer?
No. I like to make fools of attorneys.
Okay. But, attorneys in and of themselves, they argue for a living. So unless you're practiced at arguing for a living, you're not going to come out ahead most cases.
They don't always know what they're talking about.
They don't always know what they're talking about, but they argue for a living. So they can wear you down and you can get frustrated and say the wrong thing at the wrong time because you're frustrated. The media is the same way. If they have an agenda when they're interviewing you and you're not aware of that, they can kind of take you and lead you over this way. And come on, buddy, yeah, so what are we talking about this? Good, yeah, so why did you hack that? Why are you the criminal in this case? If you don't realize you're getting led somewhere to make you look stupid or to make you look like a fool, then you don't necessarily know it's coming.
Keep your reporters worse than attorneys.
Sometimes. And not necessarily the reporter. The reporter could be the best guy in the world. He could be literally your best friend that you grew up with. But then they get that information over to the editor. The editor goes, we were going to do a story about X, but now we've got this great sound bites from this guy here. We can really make these guys look like complete jerks. Let's run with that. That may be, 15 seconds out of a 45-minute interview, but that's the 15 seconds they run with. So get some training, understand what the people you're talking to want to get out of things, where you want to go. Become a resource in your local area or your regional media. Say, I don't want to be on TV, but you know what? If you've got a question about computery, cybery, whatever, IoT stuff, give me a call. I'll answer it. I'll give you 15 minutes. I'll give you some background information on there. So at least to our community and to the people who are more educated about this, you don't look like a fool. Will that work? I don't know. It might. Since a lot of you guys haven't heard about the Calvary, when you do, you might not like the group. You might not like the people involved. I was talking to Kevin Johnson again before this. A lot of the Calvary stuff is going out. We're focusing on automotive right now. We're focusing on media. And Kevin was asking me, he goes, yeah, but what good is this? What is it going to do? You can't kill someone with a tire sensor. I said, yeah, but a lot of the work the Calvary's been doing over the past couple of years has been laying the groundwork to to have these conversations with the automotive companies. Some of the automotive companies, when they were first talking to them, they were like, whoa, you guys are here to extort us. You just want to get money from us. Why are you doing this? Like, no, our motives aren't to say, all right, we've got this great hack for the Ford 2017, give us money and we'll make it go away. It's more about laying the groundwork with the auto manufacturers, laying the groundwork with the medical manufacturers, laying the groundwork with, FERC and NERC and all of the other agencies out there that says, when we've got a researcher who has found a legitimate problem, however they may have found that, and they come to you or they come to us and say, hey, we need to get a hold of these guys here and talk to them about this, that they've got the connections, and the first reaction isn't going to be, oh my God, hacker, sue them, or send the FBI into their house and blow them up or whatever. So having connections is very good. Having spent the time laying the groundwork is amazing that way. Who here knows how to talk business? Okay. Who here knows how to talk risk? Do you think people outside of our industry speak a different language than we do? I guarantee you walk up to almost any manager in a business and say, God, the Wi-Fi, we've got a problem here. We're out of DHCP leases and we need to extend the range by doing a supernet. They're going to go, huh? Our wireless isn't working. When the customers come into the store, they can't get online here and they're leaving and going down the street there. I need to spend about a half hour fixing this. Will you let me do that right now? Our customers are leaving? Yeah, fix it. How much money do you need? Learning how to explain things that in ways other people will understand is a great way of doing it. So if you've got the opportunity and you're still in college, like a couple of you guys here look like you are, take a couple business classes, maybe a couple classes on risk, the basics of that, so you understand, at least from outside of our community, what people are looking for. It helps you communicate the problem we're having, or you're having, to the people who can either say, here's money, fix that, oh my God, take the time, fix that, we need to do that. Another option here is get an MBA. It's quite a bit larger and quite a bit, it takes a lot more time, but supposedly when you get an MBA, you're a management of business administration. You really, at that point, would have a really good grasp of what other managers would be looking for in communications to and from the business. And you go through and say, hey, we can't launch this website. We've got to hold it back for another month because there's all these horrible things here. And if an attacker gets in here, then, no one's going to use our site again. And the business may look at this and go, when we launch this website tomorrow, we're going to be making $1 million an hour. So every hour we delay is $1 million. And you want to take us down for a week, which is $168 million, you have to show me that the day we turn this on, our customers are going to look at it and they're going to get killed or maimed or something to not bring in that money right now. You have to be able to sell the problem you're having. So realize that people are experts in their own domain, and you probably are not.
Like spelling.
Exactly. I suck at spelling. And even spell checker looks at me and goes, oh my God, what are you thinking about? So when you're talking to other people, regardless of what domains they're in, talking behind my back. No. So look at things. Try to understand when if you've got a computer problem and you're going over to an engineer, they may not understand everything about computing you do, but the engineering stuff they're working on, they understand. If you're talking to yes, it's spelled wrong. So, I suck at spelling and I don't always catch spell check, which is good.
He did it deliberately, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So, the solutions we've got going forward, technology isn't always about technology. It's about decision making and semantic thinking. Cooperation among stakeholders. You being in IT and IT security, you are a stakeholder in a larger group. If we're always crying wolf, oh my God, the CVSS score on this is 9, we've got to do something about it right now. Well, yeah, it's a 9 on that system that's in the room, not connected to anything that 3 guys use with a USB key to print stuff out. Who cares? If it's got a 5 and it's directly on the HR network and someone's scanning and actively looking at it because there's a worm out there, that one takes priority. Be open to people outside of our echo chamber. Basically means talk to people outside of IT. If I sit down with anyone over here and say, oh, God, management just does not understand security, everyone over here is going to nod their heads.
My manager doesn't know anything about it.
Exactly. Or spelling.
Yes.
So when you sit down and talk to people that way, with your peers, they're going to agree a lot with what you say. When you start talking outside of the group of peers you've got, you're going to get a lot of differing opinions. You may find a lot of stuff that's really cool and interesting. And prepare for reaction and work against overreaction. How many times have you guys heard, when you finally get through, you've got the sales going through a FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Or you've heard of a manager or an executive flying on the airplane, they're reading the airplane newspaper, and all of a sudden they've got something in there that is, all of this NTP reflection is going to DDoS the entire internet. And they come in, from their flight from vacation to Barbados again, 3rd time this month, and like, oh my God, I just read about this on the airplane. You guys have to fix this right now. okay, NTP reflection doesn't affect us. It affects other people when our servers are bouncing out to them. But we've got this critical vulnerability in the HR system that, we kind of need to patch this right now because we just fired Sally because she was stealing this stuff and printing it out. Now we need to go through and make sure that her passwords are locked down. We change all the accounts here. We call and notify all the banks, and we do all this other stuff. This is a real problem right here, right now. If we don't handle it, she's right now driving home. She's got 38 more minutes. When she gets there, she's going to log into the system and drain our accounts. That's a little bit more important than the NTP reflection that may affect us, but probably will affect somebody else that, pissed off the Lizard Squad or something like that. And they're going to use us to attack them. Any questions so far?
About public outreach.
Public outreach. What do you mean?
So, it drives me crazy, especially with the media, that be a news story. Millions of webcams are accessible to anybody on the
Yep.
website. And they make a big story about it. But they don't say anything. Well, you have one of these devices, here you go about fixing it.
Well, okay, so the question was on public outreach. If you take one of the latest things on the webcams being vulnerable to everything under the sun, as a hacker can come in and take over all these webcams, the media does a really great job of coming out and going, oh my God, if you have these webcams here, hackers can come in and look at your babies when they're sleeping in their cribs and the whole world's going to end. Media does a great job of putting out that information there, but that's part of the media training. I think, when we've got people out there talking to the reporters and saying, look, if you've got anything on technology, I'll be glad to answer those. And they come out and say, this webcam thing, what is this about? Oh, okay, so yes, hackers can come in and they can do this, but here's 2 things you can do on your home network to protect yourself against that.
Well, they don't often see that.
Another thing too is do you have a hackerspace where you live? Do you have a hackerspace where you live?
Do you have a hackerspace where you live?
A hacker space?
Yes.
Hackerspace or makerspace or
Yeah, well, it's there.
you live here? So one of the things I've done is I've partnered with the Tampa Hackerspace, and we're going to start trying to put together Security 101 training for people outside of the general maker, hacker, breaker, whatever community. So we get, older folks who are a little afraid of computers, that kind of stuff. That's the type of community involvement you can get involved in. Go to your town hall and see if the town hall, if you really want to do this. I mean, you don't have to. It's
Amazon,
easy, but yeah.
I think Amazon V, she's on Twitter at Amazon V. She's done a couple classes at her local library. It's people going and saying, there's a need for X. Let me spend a half hour, 45 minutes writing a little class on this, or writing down the 5 questions my mom just asked me. And then since I was at my mom's house, she drug me over to her neighbor's house and she asked me 2 or 3 more questions on this. And now I've got 8 questions that if I sat down and wrote, a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation, and I did this for another 2 weeks, I now have 45 minutes. I can go to the public library and give a basic class on questions I know people are asking outside of our community. Go to the library. I have a free class on how to do X. People are going to come, maybe 5 or 6, maybe not. You never know with those.
Or if you're involved with other volunteering, take a look at what that group has access to so that you can cooperate with that group.
Yeah.
Like amateur radio clubs, for instance, it's semi-relevant to them. Library stuff, friends of the library groups, all that kind of stuff.
Are you guys involved with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, any after-school activities, soccer stuff? If you're
pushing STEM,
STEM.
tie it with STEM.
You can tie stuff in with STEM. It's great. If you guys are, soccer moms or soccer dads, and you're out at a soccer event, you're talking to the other parents out there. You go, yeah, I noticed your kids were on Facebook, and they're sharing a lot of information out there. Spend 5 minutes. Have 2 or 3 points you can tell them. Look, yeah, your kids are on Facebook. You're probably never going to kick them off there without, making them move out and become, circus clowns or whatever. But, run away and join the circus. But definitely go out and have 2 or 3 talking points. You can sit down with them and say, hey, you guys are going on vacation next week. Yeah, I know that because we're close friends and we've been talking about this for a while. But do you realize your daughter and your son were talking about, oh my God, it's so awesome. We're going to be going to the Caribbean for a week. And they're posting that all over, Facebook. Criminals actually look at this information and then they go, oh, I know Debbie and John are going to be out next week, so let's go to their house while they're gone. I know that they're friends with Bob, and Bob works from 8 to 5. So, if he goes over there at 8, maybe 8:30, so we stop by about 9, rob the house. No one's going to know anything until about 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. We're set. I had a couple friends on Facebook. Actually, I had one friend on Facebook recently. She posted about going on vacation somewhere. I messaged her. I'm like, hey, you really need to take that post down. Telling people that you're going to be gone for a week kind of says, please rob me. And I linked her to that website. 30 seconds later, I saw the indicator on Facebook. Post deleted. So, we can have a big impact even talking to just a few people locally. And then that grows your network of people and your expertise in that network. Don't always trying to be selling the stuff, but definitely give some information out for free. I think that really helps out a lot. Any other questions? No? All right. That is it for my talk. Short, not too sweet, but short. Thank you guys for coming to BsidesOrlando.
What's that skyline again, Tom?
I have no idea. Like I said, I stole the presentation. msskyline.dot.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to get involved with the Calvary or any other groups like that? It's not a church? Yes, it's not the Calvary Church. No.